Okay, hi everybody. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so my name is Tomi Männikkö and I'm from the Nokia Airframe Data Center Solutions R&D, where I work as a hardware architect and I'm focusing on the open edge hardware platform. So I will be telling you about how open edge can be deployed, what kind of configurations are possible in the different levels of the product. So I will start with the slide, which is in a high level presenting how the process of the product configuration goes from the very early phases of discussions with customer teams all the way to the shipping of the end product to the site. So on the left side, it kind of the input for configuring a system must come initially, of course, from the customer. What kind of applications they are running, and that affects, of course, the CPU core counts, for example, and the network interfaces that they are requiring, and also any preferences they might have in deploying their kind of products that they use. Site requirements are very important, like what comes to power feed. Power feed can be adapted to whatever is available at any site. That's done by the PDUs. I'll come to that later on. Many software options that they would like to have, like data center management, that we are also providing. Licenses, whatever are required to come up with the kind of the entire package. And then I have a picture here showing the Nokia tool that we use for configuring open edge. So basically, there's a graphical picture of the OpenEdge 3U chassis here, and we or the user who is doing the configuration can then sled by sled, pick the components that are required. Or we also have several blueprints that we call predefined kind of templates that are ready-made for certain kinds of applications. So the configuration becomes quicker that way. And once that's all done, then the system will produce a bill of materials, and which is then forwarded to our factory, where all the integration happens. So the servers are built, from the server barebone components are added. Then the chassis are built from the sleds, and they are then placed into a rack based on the description that was made in the first phase. And the whole rack is cabled, ready cabled. All the switches that the customer may have picked are then connected to the servers. Power feed is installed, PDUs, the power cabling, everything. So basically ready to be taken into use at the site when it arrives. And then that rack is put into a wooden crate and shipped to the customer, where the customer then, or the team who is doing the deployment, will just open the crate and roll the rack to the location where it's supposed to be, and then it's quite easily then taken into use by just plugging it into the power outlet of the site and connecting the uplinks or whatever is the connectivity at the customer. So this is kind of the basic flow of things during configuration. And this slide is showing what different options we can provide for the server level. This picture shows the 2U server, but similar options are also available for the 1U server, except for certain high power acceleration options that we can support with the 2U sled. So let's start with CPUs. We do support the entire range of Intel Xeon scalable family, from the low core count to up to the highest end of the family. We have fan options. The OpenEdge supports cooling air flow from front to rear or from rear to front, depending on what is actually the side arrangement. There may be hot aisle, cold aisle arrangements, or some other reason to pick the cooling airflow into a certain direction. So we have fan options for that. Memory. This is showing the current server generation that we are currently shipping. So based on the Cascade Lake. So for the memory options, we have up to 6 DDR4 DIMMs, and if needed, we can also use Intel Optane persistent memory modules. We have internal storage on the motherboard that supporting up to 2 M.2s. They can be either 80mm or 110mm long, supporting either SATA or NVMe. And in the front, we have for the network interface options, we have an OCP Mesonym version 2 that can be used typically for dual port network connectivity. And in the 2U sled, we have like multiple I/O options. We can support up to 2 PCIe by 8s. In addition, there can be 1 PCIe by 16. We are supporting 2 full height, full length cards, or 1 full height, full length, double wide card, which could be, for example, a high performing accelerator unit, GPU, for example, or something similar. And so 3 slots altogether can be configured in different ways. We have 3 riser options for the 2U sled. So to provide the flexibility. In the front, we have, in addition to the M.2s that we have inside permanently, we have hot swap storage in the front. So in this 2U sled model, we have 2 7 or 9.5mm SSD slots and 2 slots that can house a 50mm SSD. All of them can be SATA or NVMe. And the 1U sled is half of the height, so that can support roughly half of the I/O in the front panel. And then moving on to the chassis level. So 3U chassis pictured here. We also have a 2U chassis available. So in that 2U chassis, we basically have the top row of 1U servers removed, and then that the remaining slots for the 2U chassis are 3 1U slots or one 1U slot and a 1 2U slot. 1U sleds can be server sleds, they can be a switch unit or a battery backup unit. It can be a front haul gateway, and so whatever sled anyone comes up with that is designed according to the OpenEdge specifications, we can use here. And RMC comes with every chassis, so it's the management function for the PSUs mainly. It does not take role in managing the sleds, except that it provides management Ethernet connectivity from the front panel of the RMC to all the sleds in the chassis via the backplane. So that's a pretty convenient way of handling the hardware management of this entire system. And for power feed, we have options for AC and DC. The capacities are currently 1200 watts or 2000 watts. The 1200 watt power supply is mainly targeted for the 2U chassis. So the 2U chassis having 3 sleds, each 400, so kind of matches that capacity then nicely. And also another key point of matching the power capacity to the need is that the PSUs can operate at the more efficient operating curve of the PSU, so more efficient use and lower energy costs. And then moving on to the rack level. So Nokia has all of these parts available that I have just described so far, and also what's on this page. So let's start with the rack. This rack is the OpenEdge 36U rack. It is designed for OpenEdge, so it is shallow depth. The depth is only 665 millimeters, so easy to handle at the site, even at locations where the space is more limited and the door openings might not be high enough to accommodate for moving in a 42 or even higher rack. So compact in that sense. It's seismic, zone 4 compliant, so can be deployed anywhere. Or if the customer wants to use their own rack, that's perfectly fine. All of this hardware can be installed in any standard 19-inch rack as well. So then the power feed is at the top of the rack. In this case, we have PDU options for -48 volt DC, which is shown in the picture here. And in addition, we have 4 AC PDU models. There's a 3-phase 32 amp model for the most of the world, so to say. We have a 3-phase 40 amp 208 volt PDU for North America and all the other regions in the world that have a lower AC voltage, like for example Japan. So we have their 3-phase PDU and a 1-phase PDU, and also for Europe and most of the world, we have one-phase 230-volt PDU, and those PDUs can pretty much feed an entire rack, except for maybe the last one here, which is limited in power feed capacity. But anyway, it is supporting the regions where one phase is a requirement and 200 volts is a requirement. Again, for example, Japan. And this is actually a typical blueprint that we are offering in Nokia. So we have the layout is according to what we see here. So the user is able to pick switches if needed, or use their own switches if that's the requirement. We are offering switches currently that are typically 32 by 100 gigs, and that is a good choice for cabling the entire rack, with servers having 2 dual port 25 gig network interface cards. So that's a pretty good fit there. The user can select 0 or 2 or 1 switches based on the need. Based on the number of chassis that's included in the order, user can pick from 1 to 8 3U chassis, and then the switching capacity and power feed capacity can be scaled to meet that number of servers. And the cabling is done all at the factory, so it's pre-cabled, pre-tested at the factory, and fully integrated. And the remaining task at the site when this shipment arrives to the end user is mainly to plug in the power feed cables at the site and do the network connectivity. And so I also wanted to add an outdoor option for the Open Edge. This is actually used also by our radio base station products. But it fits perfectly for also the 3U Open Edge chassis. So it can fit. It's 4 use of total space, and fitting 3U chassis in there leaves one more U for to be used for additional units. For example, an alarm unit can be added. A GPS unit can be added there. The installation of this cabinet can be done on almost everywhere. So it can be on the rooftops of buildings in a city. It can be installed mounted to a pole. It's Zone 4 compliant, and the operating temperature range is following the GR 3108 class 4, which is from -40 degrees up to +46 degrees plus solar load. So pretty wide range of temperatures that is covered by this unit. In the cold temperatures, well, -40 is something extreme, but that's also doable. Maybe that comes, when there's a cold start after many hours of not being powered up, and then suddenly powers up. The cabinet has a heater, and it heats up the cabinet internals first, and then after reaching 0, the Open Edge chassis will be powered up, and then the normal operation can begin from there. This cabinet, the cooling is based on a heat exchanger unit. And what's neat about this option is that it has closed internal airflow, so no impurities of air can enter the inside of the cabinet, and so it's kind of quite well protected from any corrosive airborne contaminants. So it has two airflows, internal and then the external airflow, and there's a heat exchanger in between. This is one example of the outdoor cabinet portfolio that Nokia is able to provide. Okay, that was all of the most of the content that I was planning on showing. Then this slide is showing that that our 3U chassis is the OCP accepted. So we have contributed the whole design package to OCP Foundation. It's available for anyone to use, and just recently we have also uploaded the design file package for the 2U chassis, and we are just in the process of contributing that also to the OCP Foundation, hopefully during this year still. But anyway, that the design package is already uploaded. You can go to the OpenEdge or Telco Edge wiki pages and find it there. And for the servers, we have also contributed those as OCP inspired. So we have shared the specifications of the 1U and 2U servers. The links below are pointing to Nokia web pages describing more about the OpenEdge offerings that we have. The middle one is pointing to the OCP marketplace, where you can find all of these products, and the bottom link is pointing to a white paper that is kind of used as a basis for this presentation. And call to action, there are regular Edge sub-project calls under the telco project, and it's a good way of keeping up to what's going on in the Edge space. The wiki pages contain a lot of information about different vendors that are taking part in the Edge community. And also good way of keeping up is to joining the mailing list that is shown at the bottom here. So I thank you for interest, and I think there might be time for any questions that you might have.
So let's check here. So let's see if we have any questions in the chat. I'm not seeing anything right now. Mike, are you seeing anything on, Mike or Lauren, are you seeing anything on your side?
No, I'm not seeing anything on this side either, Steve.
There is, I believe, Nokia will be listing that outdoor cabinet on our OCP marketplace as well, so that you'll be able to find that there hopefully in the next few weeks as well. That's a great solution. Looking forward to having that on the OCP marketplace.